Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing wear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kenningston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today we have a special guest. He's a former Raider. I'm not quite sure. He'll inform me later about what class he graduated from. I forgot to ask him, and it's been so long, I can't remember. But without further ado, our special guest today is Mr. Yogi Davis. Yogi, welcome to the show, brother.
Man, appreciate you having me on, Billy, man. I'm excited. And I used to I get a summer job, right? I used to do like a temp service in Leesburg. Or at this time, I was at a McDonald's, the McDonald's in Wildwood. You know, there was a McDonald's off the exit. Yeah. When you go to Wildwood. So I was working there one summer, right? And there was this kid there. I can't remember his name. It was this black kid. And we had been working together now for probably like 2-3 weeks. And he ended up finding out my name is Yogi. And he was like, "You Yogi from Bushnell?" And somebody asked you like that. I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, why? That's Wildwood. So I'm like, "Man, what?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you remember me? You broke my leg in middle school." No lie.
Oh my God!
You tackled me and you broke my leg in middle school, and I never played football. And I was like, "Oh. That was you," because I remember the hit. I remember the tackle because he was screaming. We were playing. It was middle school, playing Wildwood. It was like my 8th grade year.
Wow!
And I hit this kid, and he just started screaming. I never forget it. I'm just like, I didn't know what was wrong with him. And he was like, "Yeah, you broke my leg in middle school."
Oh my God!
Like, "Oh, my bad." Like, I didn't know what to say. Like, bro, I'm sorry. And then there was another moment where I was playing basketball, and I know if Kim Bourne still at South Sumner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kim and John. Yep.
Okay. Make sure she see, because she'll remember this right here. So this JV, this like 9th grade year, right? We were fresh off football. I think we playing Citrus. It's Citrus, yeah. Yeah, Citrus. So we playing Citrus, right? And it's like she's yelling for somebody to foul. And I'm in the block. I'm in the block in the paint. And the basketball is coming across the court. And she's like, foul, somebody foul. And everybody's kind of looking around. So no lie, Billy. I take a beeline from the opposite block to the half court. And I freaking knock this kid like into the bleachers, bro. Like, I'm talking about full shoulder. Like, just decleat him like I'm on the football field. Why? I don't know. I was 14, 15. Come on, dude. So like, I knocked this kid out. Obviously, I'm suspended for 2 games. Fast forward, probably about 2-3 years ago. I don't know. You remember EJ Hall, Elbert Hall?
Yeah.
He was Cortez. His brother was Cortez. And
yes. Yeah.
So I was talking to EJ on FaceTime, right? No lie, Billy. This is crazy. And he's hanging out with somebody, and he says my name. And he's like, and he's talking to dude. He's like, "Is that what was this?" And he talking like, "Yeah." And then he get a dude the phone, and he's like, "Hey, you remember me? You played basketball, and you knocked the X out of me when we was playing basketball. You remember that?" And I was like, "Yeah, my bad."
Oh my God, dude.
And bro, we talked about that and we laughed for like 10 minutes on the phone talking about it, dog. But it's crazy because you say that. And those two instances were like, people remember playing against me because I inflicted harm on them. And up to the point where I was just like, my bad, bro. Like, I ain't, it wasn't intentional. Maybe the basketball thing, I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But I ain't break Buddy leg on purpose. I didn't mean to ruin Buddy football career, man. Like, that was really accident.
He should have drank more milk.
Hey, listen, 1% better.
He said
1% better like milk.
You need some Boniva, some bones, some for your bone structure. Golly.
Oh man.
Listen.
Those were two crazy.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Y'all remember? I remember the basketball game, breaking the dude's leg. It wasn't until he told me that, and I remember, like, I do remember hitting somebody in 8th grade, and they were screaming like, somebody had like shot him or something. And I said, it must have been him. So,
well, that's like the story. People think that I'm lying or making it up when I tell them the story about when Earl Everett hit a guy from South Lake so hard that it knocked his wisdom tooth out.
Ooh. I heard that. Yeah.
You heard that, right? So every time I tell that story, people are like, nah, man, there ain't no way. And I'm like, nah, it did happen.
When they say that, you need to pull up Earl highlight film.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody don't agree with you on that, you need to pull up his highlight film and then ask him about it afterwards.
Well, what's funny is Earl, people would ask Earl all the time. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And somebody in his family, a cousin or somebody, was working at they were like a correctional guard or something, and the guy that he knocked the wisdom tooth out was in the facility or something like that, and he was like he found out that this individual was related to Earl. And he says, you're related to Earl Everett? And they're like, yeah. He goes, man, he knocked my wisdom tooth out. And they're like, oh my God, it really happened. He's like, yeah. Like, it really did happen. I was like, oh my God, dude, can you imagine? You wake up, you're like,
Earl need to put Dennis on his resume. Earl got to put Dennis on his resume, man.
Dr. Everett.
Yeah, Dr. E.
Dr. E.
Well, yeah. But that's something, man. No lie, though, man. Like, that's something about something, man, that's just like, I loved it, man. And that's like trying to get my kids to tackle it. And a lot of people tackling, right? Yeah, you got to coach it. And it's a lot of it, some of it is form and technique. But I think the heart of tackling anybody is want to. And will. You see, like you just have to want to be physically more dominant than that person in that time.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Just being able to do it consistently.
Yep.
Right. That was something about size something. Like we won the biggest school. We didn't have, all the schools like, a big 3, 4, 5 or 5, 6, 8 school. Like we country boys down in Central Florida. But hey, whether we go to Jacksonville or whether we go down to Miami, like we're going to hit you. You're going to get hit. You can win by 50, but you're going to get hit. Somebody on that team is going to be like, man, I don't want to go back out there, coach. Like you can put somebody else out there,
right.
And that's just something like I want to instill in what we're doing here at Frankfurt. I mean, we got tough kids. I love this community, man. Like the kids here are tough. They're resilient. They're inner city kids. Some of them got a lot of challenges at home, but they show up and they play hard. And so once I can get them just to embody and ingrain that, when it comes time to tackling somebody, when it comes time to blocking somebody, like I get it. We spend a lot of time in the weight room, fundamentals and all of that stuff, but you gotta want to do it. You gotta have the will to do it. You gotta have the drive to do it. Like it have to be something like, I want this more than you want it, So, and we getting there. I know that for a fact, that we definitely headed in the right direction.
So you had a really great, I mean, except for the 2-9 season, which in actuality was just a stepping stone because I mean, like you said, right after that they come in and then they started to build it up, and that class was one of our best classes after that. And I say that with all respect to every class. It's just you could be a really good class, and you could be in the right class at the wrong time. I always say, because there's classes that are like just like our class this year. I mean, we played all those really, really good teams, and just didn't. We just didn't find a way to win. Came very close. There was not one game this year that we were not in. I mean, every game that we played, it wasn't a blowout. It was. It was all close. Yeah.
Possession.
So right, and it just didn't work out. But you had a good football career at South Central High, and then where did you end up going to college? Tell me tell me your recruiting pitch, like why you went to the specific college. How did it come about? Tell me just the whole thing.
Okay, so I get to my senior year, and I'm talking to Lindenwood University in Missouri in St. Louis. Their coach had traveled down there. He picked me up, took me to All-Star practice. Like, Lindenwood was recruiting me hard, and I probably was going to go to Lindenwood. But I make it to the Central Florida All-Star game, and I ended up meeting this guy named Coach Chip Hester, and he was from the school. He was from Catawba College in North Carolina, and and something about the All-Star game, Coach Lawrence, and I love Coach Lawrence. I don't know if I ever told him, but he's one of my heroes in my life. Because I really feel like he pushed and helped me get recruited. So, Coach Lawrence, you watch this, you're hearing this, you really mean a lot to me, Coach. But Coach Lawrence is taking me to practice because he's the middle linebacker coach for the All-Star team. You see what I'm saying? So me and Coach Lawrence, we drive into, I think we was driving to Orlando or Kissimmee, or Sanford, one of them. It was Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford, one of them. But we was driving there every day to go to All-Star practice for a week. And so, he ended up, Coach Hester, he talked to Coach Hester, give him a highlight film. We on the ride back. I remember he telling me, about the school called Catawba, and I'm just like, the who? How you spell it? And then he told me, I go home, I look him up. And then that next day, I meet Coach Hester. We talk a little bit. Then I play the All-Star game, had a decent game. I really had, I had some good guys I was playing with. One guy was going to Ole Miss. Another guy was going to Florida. So I was playing with some really good guys. And Coach Lang, the new head coach at Leesburg, he was our defensive line coach at this All-Star game. So shout out Coach Lang. Wish you the best of luck with the Yellow Jackets. But so, I played my All-Star game, and mind you, you remember me in high school. I got my hair wigged up. I got the dreads. I got my hair wigged up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm nosy. So I'm talking to Coach Hester at the end of the game. He was like, how would you like to come visit? And I was like, yeah, it's cool. So that next day, I had a plane ticket to Charlotte, and so I get on. So I go home and tell my mama, whatever. She's excited. We're all excited, and I end up, getting on the plane. My first time getting on the plane is at 18, and that was to go to North Carolina. So I get to North Carolina. I get to Charlotte Airport. Coach Hester picks me up. I never forget it. He takes me to this place called Concord Mill. I don't know if have you ever been to that Charlotte area?
I've been through Charlotte. I've never actually. I think we may have stayed in that area when I was a kid, but I've only driven through it as an adult. I don't really remember that much.
So there's a big mall there called Concord Mills. It's right outside, probably about 20, 30 minutes outside of Charlotte, in a place called Concord. And Annapolis is actually where I want to say that's where who was the race car driver? What was it? What was it?
Oh,
Dale, no, it wasn't Dale
you-
Earnhardt.
Daryl Earnhardt has they have a thing in Charlotte. Yeah, they're from that area. They're from North Carolina.
Yeah, so he was from around that area.
Yep.
So he take me to Concord Mills, and he takes me to this barbecue restaurant called Sticky Fingers. I'll never forget it. Barbecue.
Yeah, love that sauce,
man. That Sticky Fingers was so good. So in my mind, I'm like, shoot, food in the mall, that's a check. Like, I'm already loving it. I get to the top. I get to Catawba, and they bring me up during the winter formal. So it's like a big dance on like a Saturday night. It's a big recruiting weekend for them. And that's how I knew like they were serious. Cause I'm like, man, they wouldn't have brought me up here during this weekend if they weren't really, interested. So I get there, I go to I get there, I meet the coaches, I kind of, go around Salisbury. And Salisbury shares is also there with Livingstone College, at Livingstone HBCU. And so Salisbury is a college town. Like I said, it's right between Charlotte and Greensboro. You about maybe 30 minutes from Charlotte. You about 45 minutes from Greensboro. So really good town, really good community. So I get there, I go to the winter formal, and I just fall in love with it, man. I got one of the guys that was there. His name is Dennis McFadden. He played for Lake Weir, in Ocala. And so, I get there, and we already making the connection because he's from Florida. And, we call each other home team. That's what we would always call each other home team because we was from that Central Florida area. And just, so I go to the winter formal, and just so happened I met my wife there. Well, obviously not my wife at the time, but I meet my wife at the winter formal. We hanging out, whatever. Then, exchange social media information, and then just kind of be friends on Facebook, and then the rest is history. But she was a senior at the time, so she was getting ready to graduate. She was a senior, and I was a senior in high school. So she was getting ready to graduate, but I meet her. I love the community. I love the vibe. I love the football team. I love the D-line coaches, Coach Locke and Coach Hub. They were like night and day, right? Coach Locke was good cop, Hub was bad cop, but God, they worked good together. So I love meeting them guys and the guys that I came in with. So that next morning, I say, hey, I'm committed. I'm here. I'm coming. Where did I sign that, coach? Mm-hmm. I'm bought in. I want to come to Catawba. So we go through that. Obviously I talked to Lindenwood. Coach, he wanted to have. What did they offer you? What did they offer you? How much? I was like, Coach, hey, I appreciate you, brother, but like, I'm taking my talents. Up to Salisbury. So I get there my freshman year. And the one thing about North Carolina, like my granddad on my dad, on my mom's side, my granddad is from like Durham, North Carolina. So that was another reason why I was like interested in going up there, was because I knew I had like some family ties up that way. And I would have hindsight 2020. I wish I would have went to Lindenwood to visit. Right. I wish I would have took the visit to Lindenwood just for the experience. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I get there, we get there my freshman year, and by the end I get there, I'm a nose guard. We're an even front team at this time. So we're an even front team, and I'm the nose guard, obviously. So I'm behind two seniors, but they're red shirt, they're juniors on the football field. Right. So this is beginning of camp. Right. So like I said, when I got there, I'm already like the workouts, power cleaning, guys in there struggling to power clean, and I'm in there moving 250 like water. You see what I'm saying? I'm, as far as like out there, like running and bench pressing the squat, like I'm, excuse my language, but it's ass to toes inside something. You see what I'm saying? So like I'm getting the squats down packed, all the deadlifts.
Right.
Like I'm good at all that stuff. So, not only am I excelling in the weight room, but I'm excelling on the football field at practice as well as a freshman. Once again, it's just like I know how to practice. You know what I'm saying? Because it's only one way to practice that style something.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We do everything. It's a standard.
Right.
So I get there, we go through camp, right? This is right before the season start. And I walk in, I look at the roster, Billy, and I'm starting. Like I'm number one on the depth chart as a freshman over these two seniors that's been here. And that was just kind of like it was crazy. Like that was the craziest moment, one of the craziest moments of my life, to walk in and see that. So we get there, we start, we get the camp going. And so I say all that, right? Hey, it ain't all good. It can't be all glory. That's one thing I like to say. It can't be all glory. You got to go through something. Right. So I get this starting spot, right? So I'm smelling myself, I'm feeling myself, like I'm just like, yeah, I'm him, and I end up missing a meeting at 6:00 in the morning. So we had a team meeting at it was like 6:00. It was a team meeting at 6:00 in the morning, and I ended up oversleeping. Because I, just doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing the night before. And I ended up oversleeping. And, my coaches called me and I wake up at like 10:00, bro. So I done missed
oh my God.
I done missed breakfast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I done missed everything, bro. And so that next week, I'm back with the twos. So, they took me, they moved me down to the twos. And so as we're practicing, right, and I'm going with the twos, and it was practicing. I'll never forget it. I'm engaged with the center. I'm engaged with the center, and one of my teammates, I think it was Jacob Haynes, he was engaged with somebody else on the side of me, and they both end up like falling into the outside of my knee. And I sprained my MCL and my LCL.
Oh my God!
Luckily I didn't. It wasn't my ACL, thank God. But I ended up having sprain. It was a low grade sprain though. It wasn't nothing. It took me a couple. But I was out for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, having
to rehab. So I missed like the first 3 weeks of my freshman season. After I did all this work to get to the starting spot,
yep.
And it was a humbling moment. It was a humbling moment for me because like I never forget that. Like I worked so hard to get there, and then chasing some girl around campus, I ended up freaking oversleeping and missing out on my opportunity. And I always say, like, if I wouldn't have been running with the twos, I probably would have never got hurt.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Penoskey's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Penoskey and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Pt2 Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it, helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right.
So I sprained my MCL, LCL, it took me a couple weeks to rehab that. So I finally get back in by midway through the season. And I'm competing kind of for my spot back, right? So by the end of the season, I'm back starting again. And I tell you what, that conference that we're in, the conference that Catawba's in, I mean, you playing Lenore Ryan, you playing Carson Newman, you playing Newberry. These some tough teams, man. I mean, like physical, hit you in the mouth. So we was in a really, really good conference. So, I get by the end of the season, I'm back starting again. Back, doing the right things. sort of kind of doing the right thing. So I get to the end of my freshman year, and we're here, and we're at the end of the year, right before Christmas break, bro. This is right before I go home. And, I got in some trouble. I'm just be open on, it's behind me now, but I got in some trouble. I had one of my roommates, he was, smoking weed. And the RAs kind of came, we was all smoking weed, I ain't lying. So the RAs kind of came through and they kind of smelled it, and they came in the room, and it was my room though, so it wasn't my roommate, it was my teammates, but it was my room. And so they come in and it smelled like weed. Those guys, they hide under the bed. You see what I'm saying? So I'm telling them, I'm in here by myself. He said, like, it's just me. So they go to search in my room. They don't find any weed or anything, but they open my closet, and I got empty liquor bottles in my closet.
Oh man.
So I'm not 21. I'm 18. I'm still a freshman, right? Football season just ended a couple weeks ago, about a month or so ago. So they open my closet, they find empty liquor bottles in there. And, so obviously I got to go and meet the head coach and, talk to the administration, about everything, they put me on, I get on probation. I take a drug test. I failed a drug test my freshman year. So what that does for me now is going into my sophomore year, going into that January, I'm suspended from all football operations for 3 months. So I can't do nothing football related for 3 months. So From January, February, March, for 90 days, I'm suspended. I can't work out with the team. I can't go to any team function. I can't do nothing. Right. And so at that time, that's when I put on all of my weight. Like I got there, I was probably like 270, 280. Man, by the time the 3 months was over, bro, I was probably like 320. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, the pizza. Hey, we had some bomb pizza at Pt2. I ain't gonna lie, pizza with everything. I'm breakfast, lunch, and dinner, though. I'm eating pizza.
Yeah.
Drinking Gatorade. You know what I'm saying? Like, not really. It was just kind of like the rough spot for me, right? Because football was all I knew, and it just kind of showed me how quick it could be taken away from me. You know what I'm saying?
Can I stop you for a sec? Can I stop you for a second?
Go ahead.
I got a question for you. So someone came in your room, and you had 2 guys hiding under your bed.
Yeah. Well, I had 2 beds.
Okay, so they were under the bed.
Partners, one of them under one bed, one under the other bed. Yeah.
So they came in and searched your room. They didn't do a very good job of searching your room, and they didn't find the 2 guys.
Well, they didn't even think to look under the bed. Like, they just went and they was looking. They was looking at my drawers.
Dude, that'd been the first place I looked. Yeah. Well, yeah.
They was trying to find the weed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they like looking at my drawers, looking at my dressers.
When you're telling me that, I'm like, man, these guys would suck as like TSA guys or something. They're like, nah, he's good. Yes, next.
It did, but it came out that they were in there. I don't know how. I did. Obviously, I didn't. I took the fall. I was like, yeah, I
didn't say nothing.
But then they brought to my attention and they asked me like, was such and such, were they in your room under the beds? I was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. That was everything that was in there. That was all me.
I'd have been like, didn't your guys search the room? Shouldn't you?
Yeah, they should know that. So I get there and kind of go through that, kind of have that situation.
Yeah.
And then so I finally make it back to the team. I'm overweight. I'm out of shape. I didn't do nothing in 3 months. Like I tried. You know what I'm saying? But I guess I was in a state of depression at that time.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I felt like a failure in a sense.
Yep.
I wanted to come back home, but shout out to my mama. My mama was like, boy, you ain't coming home. You say you won't come home again, I'm coming down and whoop you myself. But you ain't coming back home.
I love your mama.
And I appreciate her and I respect her for doing that because I wouldn't be here today.
It's tough love.
Let me come back home. Yeah,
that's tough. That's tough love, man.
I get through all that stuff, man, and I get back with the team. Obviously, this is the off season, right? So I missed the first 3 months of the workout. But I'm able to get back and like I'm hitting it hard, like I'm at everything, like I've been in I'm in my playbook. I kind of feel like rejuvenated that, kind of got football back.
Right.
So I go through that. I think that summer of my going into my sophomore year, that was the summer I think old buddy told me I broke his leg. We're not at Walmart, we're at McDonald's. So, but I get there my sophomore year, and I get there back in, doing it all again. I'm expected to be the starter. I got a kid with me. I got a kid behind me named John Jean. John Jean was from Jacksonville, Florida. I forgot what school he played for, but he was a Haitian. And I thought I could power clean the house. John Jean came in as a freshman power cleaner like 325.
Oh wow!
Like asked the hill, bro. Like no joke. He was just super strong, super aggressive, and like was a really, really good football player. So, he was behind me as a freshman, but we made a really good team. So, I get there my sophomore year, I'm starting my sophomore year. We have a decent year. I think we went 6-5, 6-4.
Right.
My freshman year. And mind you, Coach Hester, he was the head coach. That's the one that recruited me. So then cool. My sophomore year, we go 6-4 again. And so they fire Coach Hester after my sophomore year. And then they bring in Coach Walker, Curtis Walker. And Coach Walker, he's an All-American linebacker at Catawba. Like really, really, had a really, really good resume, decorated resume. I had won some state championships, I believe, as a high school coach. And was just completely different, right? Coach Hester, he was more your laid back. He was your player's coach. You see what I'm saying? Like he was your guy that, you can call in the middle of the night if you done made a mistake and he's gonna talk you through it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
When I failed that drug test, it wasn't he was upset, he was disappointed, but it was also like, hey son, you just have to learn a moment, because you got potential, you got greatness, that was kind of Coach Hester. But Coach Walker was a great guy, but like he was like boom, boom, boom. Like it was like strict, like military, like and a lot of people didn't like that. We had people quit when Coach Walker came on. But I liked it because it was just kind of like, okay, that discipline part, like I needed that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like I needed that structure. And I knew at that time in my life, like I needed some structure because of what happened in the past.
Right.
And that, like I said, that's no shot at Coach Hester. Like, Coach Hester did what he could. But I just think, at that time, how the coaching world go, right?
Oh yeah. It's
gonna end one of two ways. Either you go leave or they gonna make you leave.
Yeah.
So they bring in Coach Walker, and he's he's a different type of cat, but he's a great coach. And funny story about Coach Walker, number 11 on Georgia, Jalen Walker, the linebacker that just won the best linebacker of the year award.
Okay, yeah.
That's his son.
Oh, okay.
So I remember Jalen Walker when he was. That's another claim to fame right there. Shout out Coach Walker, his family. Jalen, I see you, boy. Deuce, you coming up next. I see you, Georgia State. Y'all take out Deuce Walker, man. He taking care of business on the defense side of the ball. But that's, what I'm saying? So I remember Jalen and Deuce when they was kids coming up, and now Jalen just got the best linebacker award at Georgia. But anyway, so, he come in, he bring in a defense coordinator, Coach Henry, Keith Henry. Shout out Coach Henry, his son, he's a defensive end. I forgot where he went to the Commanders, but I think he played for somewhere else. KJ Henry, check him out, playing in the NFL. Coach Henry, he was a great coach. So, but we changed. So when we bring Coach Henry in, we go from an even front to an odd front. So now I'm a true nose guard.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm built for it, right? Like I'm still in my, still in the threes. But I got to the point to where it looked like I don't look like a sloppy 300. You see what I'm saying? Like I got my muscle tone right. I'm able to move and things of that nature. They were still trying to get me to get down like 280. But dude, when I'm getting triple teamed and my linebackers, Corey Johnson, Lakeem Perry, they broke the tackling record every year I was at nose guard. You see, like Corey broke his record twice. Because I was in front of him at nose guard.
Right.
And of course, Corey Johnson, great linebacker, great coach right now at Marlboro County in South Carolina. But I took pride in that. Like, I didn't care about making the tackles and all. Like, I took pride in looking at the stats and seeing the middle linebacker got 20 tackles that game. You know why he got 20 tackles? Because they have a triple team. They have a triple team me. They can't block. They know they can't block me one-on-one. You see what I'm saying?
True.
So they bring in Coach Henry. Kind of switch up the coach. I think Coach Hub left. Coach Locke stayed. My D-line coach. Kind of switch up the staff a little bit. But the vibe was different, right? It was one of those things where it was just more structured, more disciplined. I love playing for Coach Walker. I love playing for Coach Hester too. But, Coach Walker kind of got me at the latter end of my college career where I'm going into being a man, right? Where I'm getting ready to leave college and I got to figure this thing out for myself. You see what I'm saying?
True.
And I think Coach Walker and Coach Henry, they really, really kind of helped me kind of steer my focus to kind of where I'm at. Now, even though it took me a little while to get here, Coach Henry would always tell me, like, man, you could be a really good football coach. You could be a really good coach if you got serious and you grew up and did things. Him and Coach Walker both, they would always say little stuff like that to me. I get there, we get Coach Walker, get them guys there. I think the first year, I think we win maybe 6 games again. And then that next year, my senior year, I want to say we probably won maybe like 4 or 5 games that year.
Right.
But the following year, once again, this is crazy. Hey, I gotta have some type of leadership out here, because that following year when I graduated, guess what? They win the freaking conference. So the year after I graduate, they got rings. The year after I graduate, they got rings because they won the conference. And I stated, hey, I had a little bit to do with that. So after I graduated high school, Kiki them go to the 3rd round of the playoffs and win 10, 12 games. And then after my senior year in college, they freaking win the conference championship. So I'm taking a little bit of credit for that, guy.
Yep. I like it. I like it.
But yeah, so I get there at the top was great, man. I got there I graduated with a recreational management degree. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something recreational wise. But by the time I figured, I really was I wanted to do communication. But I kind of got, and I just wasn't focused academically. Like, that's no shade. Like, I wasn't the best student. I could have been a better student. But I wasn't the best student. I wasn't dumb. I was graduated. I got my degree, right? But I definitely could have applied myself more. But everything happened for a reason. Like I said, I'm happy where I'm at and what I got going on.
Same.
But so I get there, right? Graduate. Just so happened, I get back in contact with my now wife via social media. And, she's living in Durham. I get hired at a job in Durham. I get hired at Enterprise. I go to Enterprise like right out of college. And so, we end up, socializing, getting to know each other and whatnot. And I ended up going to Enterprise, working at Enterprise for a year. That was a great experience. I love Enterprise. I just didn't like the politics and the shady side of the business world. That's just something that did not sit right with me when I got my managers, y'all giving me a hard time for trying to do right by customers. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all trying to give me a hard time because this family over here ain't got nothing. And I'm not going to try to upsell them because they already don't have anything. Like, I'm going to try to help them out the best I can. Yeah. And I just didn't like that. I couldn't get behind it. So I get into coaching. And this right around the time my first daughter is born. In 2016. So I get online. There's a school called East Chapel Hill in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and looking for coaches. And I apply, and I end up getting Coach Johnson, Ron Johnson. Shout out Coach Johnson. Appreciate everything he did for me, brother. He called me back, give me an opportunity. So I go to East Chapel Hill. East Chapel Hill, man, that was an experience. It was an experience. You know, my first introduction to the coaching world, and you know, so I get there, and you know, historically they're not great, right? I think the most they've won in a season is like 5 games. But you think of Chapel Hill, what you think about? Think about basketball.
UNC, baby.
So I'm at a school with 2,300 kids. This school is massive.
Oh, wow.
I'm at a school with 2,300 kids, but we got 25 kids on the football team. Yeah, everybody wants to play basketball, though. You go to basketball, got A team, B team, C team, D team, E team. Basketball team got the whole alphabet. I mean, you know, whatever. You know, you got kids, you know, kids in wheelchairs out there trying to get on the basketball team.
I love that basketball.
Coach Hartsfield, right? Shout out to Coach Hartsfield. He's a legendary coach in that triangle area. You know, I got a lot of respect for Coach Hartsfield because he helped me out a lot. And I'll get to that here in a minute. But like I get to East Chapel Hill my first year, and you know, we're playing school like Orange. I don't know if you know, you may not know this linebacker, but there's a linebacker. His name was Peyton Wilson. He played for NC State. I think he plays for the Steelers now.
I think so. I've heard of his name.
Peyton Wilson. He was at a high school called Orange in North Carolina. And no lie, he was one of those, like I seen him his senior year. He was one of those kids, like, you know, when we saw Kiki in like 7th, 8th grade, we knew like he's going to play professional football.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like if he keeps his head on straight and he stay humble and keep working, like he's gonna play professional football.
Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck, the delicious mobile coffee truck that brings you the caffeination inspiration you need. We deliver signature coffee products like our Nitro Cold Brew and Caramel Frappe to any occasion or festivity. And for those who don't like coffee, we offer a variety of delicious hot chocolates, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. That's Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck.
Same thing when I saw this Peyton Wilson kid. I mean, he was a man amongst boys. And so we're in a division with him. We're in a division with the school called Hillside. Hillside is traditionally good school in North Carolina. We're playing North Durham. They're usually traditionally good in North Carolina. We playing what was the school? Oh God, I can't think of the name of it. They got them there. They got them down there in Florida. They got them everywhere. It's running away from me now, but if I think of it, I'll say it. They're like a green and gold school. It's not Trinity Catholic. Like green and gold, green and white. I can't think of the name of them. But we're in a tough conference. We go 1-10 my first year at East Chapel Hill. So going into the off season, we get a new athletic director in, right? And so he's looking at everything. And he's like, man, we're going to go to an all JV schedule the next year, right? We go get rid of the varsity program. You know, we're going to try to get more kids interested. And I thought that was the right thing to do, right? I mean, you can't compete in this league with 25 kids. Like there's no way that you can compete in this league that we're in with 25 kids, because it was a tough district. So he cuts the varsity program. We go through the whole off season, right? This is I get through the off season, whatever. I'm the D-line coach my first year. So the head coach at the time, he's like, hey, I'm gonna bring you up to make you a defensive coordinator. And so I'm like, okay, this is my second year coaching. And I can say I won't go back, like, getting into coaching, it was a huge difference because, I was a good player. I was good as a player. And it took a while for me to realize, like, everybody don't look at football like you look at football.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody don't see this game how you see this game.
Right.
And that's when I really figured out, like, man, it's about these kids, right? Kind of getting from that, I used to do it. I used to say that all the time when I first started. Oh, I used to do this. I used to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I was just kind of like, that means nothing, right? That ain't helping these kids out.
Right.
So he makes me the defensive coordinator. So boom, man, I'm on everything. I'm on Glacier. I'm on YouTube. I got notebooks on top of notebooks on top of notebooks. Like I show you right now, I got something sitting here. Like I got this thing right here. It's like just full of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I got notebooks like that, mind you, and I'm fresh out of this. I'm 2-3 years removed from college. And he's making me the defensive coordinator. So I'm doing research and trying to get everything right. And we get about a week away from the season, and he resigned. The head coach resigned from the football program. And I'm just looking around like I'm the next guy up. You see what I'm saying? But I don't have a teacher certificate or nothing. So they bring in Coach Hartsville, the head basketball coach. They bring him in to run like the day-to-day operations, right? Like the, just the administration stuff for the football team.
Right.
I was able to do all the game plan and the practice plan and you see what I'm saying? Like I said, I was able to set all like the team meals and things of that nature. Like I was able to do all of that. And so, so that year, the JV season we was 7-3 that year. Coach, great coaching staff, man. We brought some guys in, Coach Embry, Coach Knapp, Coach Ward. Me and Coach Ward, we still really good friends. Coach Embry, I think he's an athletic director somewhere in North Carolina now. Maybe he's back in Maryland. And then Coach Knapp, I don't know what coach. I think Coach Knapp might still be coaching there. And Coach Rogers. I love Coach Rogers. You know the show Survivor?
Yeah.
Coach Rogers, he was on that show. He was like, he got like 4th place on Survivor back in the early 2000s.
Huh.
And he was like big offensive line coach. I mean, dude would like tower over you, and his voice would freaking shake walls. But I mean, bro, great coaching staff. Oh my God. If I could bring them guys, if I could get them guys to Frankfurt, I would bring them, I would move them myself to get them guys here, man. Cause that was a cream of the crotch. Not cream of the crotch, cream of the crop. We meshed and we worked so good together. But so we ended up going 7-3 that JV season, and it was awesome. You know what I'm saying? Because these kids are winning games. Like we got excitement around the program. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking I'm the next guy. They're finna interview me, make me the head coach. They obviously seen that I can do it. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? I was like, hey, y'all, the proof's in the pudding. Well, not me, but we can do it. You see what I'm saying? But me as the leader. So, I get in there and they pretty much tell me, politics. I don't know politics, but well, you can't be the head coach because you don't have a teaching certificate. Now, I guess that's a common practice, but in the same sense, it's like, come on, man. Like y'all see what we got going on with these kids. You see what I'm saying? Like we got something good going on right here, right? Like we raised the roster, like we had like 35 kids, almost 40 kids before I left. Playing, in the weight room for us. But they bring in this coach from Georgia. I seen it on the interview committee. They bring in this coach from Georgia, they hire him, and then lo and behold, my wife, she's from Kentucky. She's from Pikeville, Kentucky. But she was born and raised there. When she was about 13, she moved to North Carolina, and that's how she got to Catawba. But she's from Pikeville, Kentucky. So, by this time, my daughter's a year old, and you got kids. So it's hard. My family's in Florida. Her family's in Kentucky. And it's hard. It was hard for me and her, with just me and her, and then having our daughter. You see what I'm saying? And so she was like, would you want to move to Kentucky? And so so we went to visit. I knew nothing about Pikeville football. I knew nothing about Pikeville. I knew nothing about Kentucky. I never thought in my life that I would live in that state. All thing I knew about Kentucky was Coach Sherman was from there. So she's from Pikeville, and at this time, and obviously I'm a little disgruntled, right? Because I'm like, man, you know, I want to. I thought that they would believe enough in me to, you know, put me in that position to where I can continue to be the head coach there, because I love that. I love those kids. I love that community. But you know, so she brings me to Pikeville, and I'm just like, I walk in, and they got this thing in the lunchroom, like it's called the Ring of Champions. And you walk in and all you see is like trophies and pictures from state championships. And you see what I'm saying? And it's just like the first thing it reminded me of, besides something, no lie. Like I walk in, it's a small country town. Like it's up in the hills of Kentucky, eastern Kentucky. You know, like real, you talk about hillbillies. Like, yes. And that ain't no derogatory term. You know, hey, I love the mountains. You know, but it's real life, like up in the hill, like hills have, like we up there. You know, elevation is high. You see what I'm saying? So I get there, I meet Coach Mack. Shout out Coach Mack, man. I love that. Coach Mack is probably one of my good friends, good mentors. But I meet Coach Mack. My mother-in-law is a biology teacher there. So that's how that connection worked. So I get to Pikeville High School, I meet Coach Mack, I meet Coach Sullivan, and you know, and they just like, yeah, you know, whatever, you know, we can, yeah, we love to have you. You know, we were looking for another coach. I tell them I'm a D-line guy, kind of tell them where I'm from, whatever. And mind you, I get there, I don't have a teaching certificate, right? So I take a teacher assistant, I take a teacher's aide job, but Frosty Davis, he was the AD and the special ed director at the time. And I love Frosty, and Frosty will always be somebody that I have a lot of respect for, because he told me about the MAP program. And the MAP program is pretty much like where you can get your master's for teaching. You see what I'm saying? So I already have my bachelor's degree. Right. So, and I can do this online through the University of Cumberland. And so Frosty put me on game with the MAP program, right? So mind you, so we pack up and leave North Carolina, Billy. Bro, we ain't got nothing. Like my wife, she teaching on an emergency certificate for being pretty much a long-term sub for this teacher that's taking a year off and then she's coming back. So my wife in the classroom, you know, and she, you know, her job is only guaranteed for a year. I'm a teacher's assistant. You know, I'm making $800 a month. You know, so I'm selling my Xbox games. I'm selling, you know, I'm finding little trinkets in the house to go to the pawn shop, you know, just to feed the girls and, you know, just kind of keep the lights on. But, you know, well, football wise, bro, we winning. You know, so my first year there, we make it the state championship game, play a school called Beechwood. Beechwood, really, really historically great program in the state of Kentucky. And we lose to them. We lost to them 20-21. I never forget that game. Yes, it was, you know, it was a tough one for us. And but you know, something I can say about, I learned my first year there about the kids in that community is this, that they are all right. Like 95% of them guys they're intrinsically motivated, like academically and athletically. Like the kids in that community, man, like I still to this day, I got a great relationship with them guys, man. I text them, call them, you know, Merry Christmas, you know, Coach, I'm getting married, Coach, I'm having a kid. You know, like we still talk to this day. But the kids in that community, man, are phenomenal. You know, the parents in that community are great. And people would always ask me because, you know, Pikeville, a predominantly white community. You know, there's a college there. You know, most of the diversity there is at the college, but you know, Pikeville is a majority white community. So people would always ask me, you know, how'd you feel when you was there? Or, you know, well, and I'm like, first of all, like I'm from a little country town in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, so like first, like it really didn't bother me because Pikeville is very similar to Bushnell. Only difference is it got mountains and it's hills. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't see as far as I can see, like you can see in Florida, right? And another thing too, you know, I tell people is that community respects hard work. It don't matter how you look, right? If you come in there and you doing right by them people, kids, You see what I'm saying? And you come in there with genuine intentions, and you're not there with no ulterior motive, and you just let who you are as a person, and you work hard and you do the right things. It don't matter what color you are, because guess what? Everybody in the community, they all driven. Everybody in the Pikeville community is driven.
Right.
It don't matter what it is. You see what I'm saying? Everybody in that community, they want something out of life, whether it's on the foot. Like, it's to the point to where you got kids. I use John Collum, one of the Billy. I'm not lying to you. I will send you his highlight film after we get done. John Collum is one of the best high school football players I have ever been around. Ever. He didn't even want to go to college and play. But a lot of these kids at Pikeville, they just want to be the best high school football player they can be with their buddies.
Yep.
Because it means something to them. And then they'll go off and they'll go to college, they'll go to UK, they'll go to Louisville, they'll go to EKU, and they'll go on into the workforce. Yep. You see what I'm saying? But just the game of football itself means so much to them, to where I just want to be the best high school player I can be. Yep. Right. So I'm going to lift hard, I'm going to run hard, I'm going to practice hard. So on December 1st or December 2nd, we're playing for a state championship at Kroger Field. You see what I'm saying? But there's a lot of kids like that just want to play to be the best they can be. So, and I say that, so that's going into like 2019. We played a school called Paintsville. Paintsville is the rival at Pikeville. We played them in the regular season at their house. We win 9-8.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, we win 9-8. Best environment, one of the best environments I've ever been in as a coach.
Wow.
Right? Because it's just like tit for freaking tat, right? But it's a defensive game. Yeah. Defense win championships. You know that.
Yep.
So we end up seeing them again at UK for the state championship game in December. We beat them 43-0.
Oh my God.
And Billy, it was on. It was on from the jump. I mean, no lie. The first play of the game was a fumble, scoop, and score for a touchdown. The first play of the game. Fumble, scoop, and score for a touchdown. Brody Birchfield, Spody Brody. Shout out Brody. Brody making music right now. Brody gonna be famous one day. Y'all be listening out for Brody. So, I mean, you can hear the air on their side. You can hear the air that I stayed in the first play of the game in 2019. And it was to the point to where after that game, that was the first state championship I won when I was there. It was to the point after that game, I told the coaches, we didn't even have to be out there. Like, the boys could have went out there and played that game and won by themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Thanks for watching episode 2 of this 3-part podcast. Tune in next week for part 3.